And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.
Howdy folks, I'm Darren. Welcome to 8th Day Chronicles here at Cross Timbers Farm. Glad to have you with us. Gorgeous day, gorgeous. First week of February 2025. Short sleeves, 60 degrees today it's supposed to be. It's now probably approaching mid-50s. It is nice out compared to the frigid Arctic temperatures we had in late January or mid-January. We're here in our wood pile, our firewood pile, from all the destruction from Hurricane Helene. We're cleaning up our forested area. We're making lemonade out of lemons. And we're making firewood out of all our downed timber. And we're here working at a white oak tree, a big white oak tree, 84 years old. Counted the growth rings in this wood. And we've saved the last few blocks of wood, the worst for the last. These are some gnarly, stringy, knotty blocks of white oak that I've got left. And in order to get these worked up and split, I'm gonna have to use my noggin. It's not all right here, it's more right here. I'm gonna have to be smart busting this wood. And if you hear me say busting wood, I'm referring to splitting firewood. When I grew up, we called it busting wood, not splitting wood. So if you hear me say busting wood, you know what I mean. If you hear me say a go devil, growing up, we referred to a splitting maul as a go devil. Okay, I have here on our chop block in the back our two trusted hand tools for firewood, an 8-pound splitting maul with a fiberglass handle. For splitting mauls, I prefer a fiberglass handle. You often in this knotty wood have to drive your head down through that block of wood to get into those inner knots to split it. And in the process, your handle is going down through some of that wood also. That stringy, knotty wood will tear your maul handle or your go devil handle all to crap. It won't last long. Several years ago, I went to fiberglass handles for splitting tools. Never looked back. Now for axes, I still prefer a wooden handle. And you will notice something before we get started splitting some of this wood. If you follow our channel very long, you remember, back about a month ago, I talked about my granddad's splitting maul. It's an old Stanley 6-pound splitting maul. It's on a handle now. But you'll notice it's a wood handle. I had no choice but to put a wood handle on it, and it is a hickory handle. I could not find a fiberglass handle to fit this one locally. I don't like to buy handles off the internet. I want to put my hand on it and feel it. So I couldn't find one, and you can see this one has the teardrop hole in the head. And we hung it this weekend, and for the first time in 20 years, probably, this maul's gonna split some wood today. This was my granddad's. This thing's probably 100 years old, or maybe older. Another new addition. Folks, this looks a lot like my other one. This is a 6-pound fiberglass handled splitting maul. Just bought it. I've already split a couple of easy pieces of wood with it. I wanted to go with a 6-pound. The 8-pound tires me out a little faster than a 6-pound. When I was younger, I probably preferred the 8-pound. Now I actually prefer the 6-pound, but the 8-pound still has its place in some really bad knots. And speaking of a splitting maul with a fiberglass handle, and I am not sponsored or anything of that nature by Harbor Freight, so take this for what it's worth. If you like a splitting maul with a fiberglass handle, you can pick these up at Harbor Freight. This is a Pittsburg splitting maul. Brand new. $25. Dirt cheap, dirt cheap. And dang if they don't work. Sometimes more money don't mean better. You will see something new, and I'm a huge proponent of a splitting maul, huge proponent. This right here is, in my opinion, is king of the wood pile. However, there is a challenger. Fiskars X27 Splitting Axe. I've used one of these before. Not long. I used one for maybe 30 minutes one time and was impressed with it so much that I bought one. And we're going to put this thing through the ringers in the next month or so. We're going to see if the hype is what it's built up to be. Fiberglass handle, and you can see the cheeks on these Fiskars are very pronounced. And what little I've used this thing, and the other one I tried one time, dang if these things don't split good. Light will not tire you out so bad, and dang if they don't split good. Initial observations of this splitting axe is Fiskars hit a home run with this. Will I still think so after swinging this thing for 8 hours today? At the end of the day, stick around, let's see. Wood handle, 100-year-old head. I've done some research on this Maul head, and from everything I can gather, this thing is at least 100 years old, or very, very close by within just a few years. This is my granddad's. It's got a new hickory handle on it, 6-pound Maul head. The lightest one at that time that Stanley made. And for nostalgia's sake, we're gonna bust a little wood with it right now. And a lot of folks look at these splitting mauls I've got and that new splitting axe and shake their head at the fiberglass handles. I understand that. There's a nostalgia about wood handles. You see folks fly fishing with bamboo rods instead of the newest graphite one. You see people out in the deer woods with a flintlock muzzle loader instead of the new AR platform or the newest bolt action. I understand all that. Some folks love to be involved in things like this just for the aesthetics and nostalgia of it, and I get that. People love the feel of a really good wood handle, and I can agree with that. However, if I've got production in mind and the most efficient tool available for the job, I'm probably going to go on my mauls and splitting axes with a fiberglass handle. But I've got the new handle installed on the Stanley, and we've got a piece of white oak here up on the block, and this thing's gnarly. It's knotty. It's a fork. It's right where a fork was starting to start in the tree stem going up. This stem was probably about 12, 15 feet up the tree where it split in two sections. And this is gnarly. It's gonna be tough to bust. We're gonna try to bust the first piece off of it with my granddad's 6-pound Stanley and a hickory handle. We'll try to take some sides off of it. hear that? That's like hitting granite. Okay, folks, this stringy white oak, this will not give up the ghost. Those fibers just holding it like kryptonite. In order to get this piece completely off the main trunk, you're going to have to drive this wedge or head down into that wood some. And in doing so, you're going to tear your handle all to pieces. This split maul means a lot to me, so I'm going to set it aside. I don't want to damage it. And I'm going to get the new Pittsburg 6-pounder with a fiberglass handle to finish this up. See how that handle went down in that wood? A wooden handle that would tear this all to pieces. Wow, look how stringy that is. Can you see that? Let me grab the camera and show you that. See that? That is why when you have to drive your head, your maul head, down into this wood to pop those fibers, to cut those fibers or break those fibers in two, your handle has to go down in here as well down the side, and it's going to tear your wooden handle all to pieces. Folks, this is not busting soft pine or fir or something like that. This is tough stuff. Requires the appropriate tool to do it. Next up, the Fiskars X27. And I have serious doubts about the Fiskars. I already know this thing's going to be fantastic for medium sized wood and smaller, and wood that's not that knotty. This is going to do fantastic. I already have seen that. But how will this thing do in some really gnarly wood? We're fixing to find out right here. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. You can see I've got the next victim up on the chop block. Here's all I could do to get that thing rolled over here and then wrestle it up on that chop block. I had to put it in a figure four and make it say uncle to get it up on there. This is the last piece I split where it was where a tree, the big white oak forked. This is the next piece down from that fork. And it's got two very distinct heartwoods, very gnarly right between them. I probably need to flip it over for you to see those growth rings a little better. But this one's going to challenge the best hand splitter. Let's look at it. Okay, I got it wrestled the other side up. Can you see the two very distinct growth rings? And a very gnarly spot right in the middle where those growth rings are joining. You can see what I've got in my hand. The Fiskars X27. All right, this is going to be a test of this tool. If it can split this, it's unlimited what it can do. I'm thinking even with the 8-pound maul, this is going to be a heck of a chore. I'm going to have to start slicing off edges to get the overall size of it down. But we're going to see. We're just going to see what this Fiskars will do. Nice. Nice. The white oak tree and all the wood associated with that downed white oak tree is done. Man, those last few pieces were mean. Happy to report the Fiskars X27 done a good job. There was some pieces, those last few pieces of that white oak, and the forks of where that tree forked, that was gnarly. Goodness gracious. The Fiskars done a pretty good job. I still had to drag out the Firewood Pile King and the splitting mauls. I used a combination of the 8 and the 6 and got the job done. There comes a time when you have to have the appropriate tool, and nothing replaces those splitting mauls, I'm telling you. If you're on a budget and you just don't want to spend a whole lot of money on your hand tools, and I get that, why spend more money than you have to? I'm telling you, these Pittsburg splitting mauls, this is my newer one, the 6-pound. This thing is the bomb. These are the deal that you get with this tool right here in the wood pile for what you pay for it, second to none. And like I said, I'm not sponsored by Harbor Freight or Pittsburg Tools. Nothing like that. I have no ulterior motives. I paid for this just like you would, and this is a fantastic tool. This, along with my 8-pounder and my vintage 6-pounder, those things are king of the wood pile. However, that Fiskars X27 is, throughout this day, is proving it has a very valuable place in the wood pile. And we've moved on from our white oak. We're now into some red oak. We got some really big rounds of red oak here. And I think red oak is still a little bit stringy like white oak, but not near as bad. You'll get some of that, but nothing like a white oak. I think the X27 Fiskars is going to excel in this red oak. Let's give it a try. And I love swinging this, how light it is compared to the 8-pound maul. This is like a walk in the park. The difference between white oak, red oak. Can you see the color difference especially? Hence red oak, hence white oak. Okay, the bark differences. See how this white oak bark, if I can get it to stand up, is really elongated. The red oak bark is more tighter to the wood and more checkerboard looking. Both excellent firewood. You can see red oak can get a little stringy too at times. Generally speaking, not as bad as the white oak. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions in some pieces. Red oak generally will split easier than white oak. 9 out of 10 blocks of red oak will split easier than the white oak. And that's been my personal experiences. Both of them, excellent burning firewood. Excellent. Premium firewood. Oh, crap. We've split wood all day. So I hauled out several loads out of here, light loads with the ATV. We don't want to load that trailer very heavy because the ground's so soft, so we just load it light to keep from tearing up our topsoil. So after a full day of splitting or busting wood with the Fiskars X27, what do I think? Can it ever even possibly replace this? This is a hard act to follow right here in the wood pile. Can it replace it? No, not in my opinion. When you get into some really gnarly, twisted white oak and red oak and knotty wood, nothing replaces this, nothing. However, can you lay this off to the side? Because it's a lot heavier. If you swing it all day, it'll make you tireder. Can you lay this off to the side and only use it when you pick up a really knotty block and you see that this is starting to struggle, then you pick up this and finish the job? Yes. That's where, in the majority of your wood that's not excessively knotty, this thing performs as advertised. It does. This is a good piece of equipment. This is a darn good tool. Very happy with this. This Fiskars Splitting Axe has earned a permanent spot in the tool shed. Every time I come to the wood pile, I'll probably have this with me. This thing is fantastic. All the reviews I read on it were correct. I read a few negative reviews, and I think a lot of those negative reviews were just because of the more modern synthetic handle and things of that nature from your wood handle levers and all that type of stuff, and I get that. But for functionality, something that's going to work, something that's going to last, and dad burn it works as advertised. This is a good tool. It also even comes with a protective sheath. You just slide this head right into that sheath, just like that, turn the lever down, and it's protected. This is a good piece of equipment. It's a Fiskars X27, made in Finland. It's a good tool. Good tool, I like it. It's got a home here. Thanks for being with us, I really appreciate it. We're winding up for the evening. The sun's getting ready to go over the mountain, and we got a bean and a tater waiting on us at home, and we're heading that way. I pray God blesses you and your family. Hope y'all have a fantastic day.